Hello fellow YouTubers, fellow experimenters, inventors, and collectors of antique radios. As you probably know by now, I am strictly a vacuum tube man. I love vacuum tubes. I love the heartwarming glow of a red-hot filament spewing electrons into a vacuum. There is nothing like a tube circuit. For years I've worked on tube radios. I've repaired many radios, restored many radios, and I've worked on a couple guitar amplifiers. Everything has been tube-based. For a long time I considered solid state to be off limits for me. I didn't know anything about it, and I was really afraid to get my feet wet. However, recently I decided I might as well go ahead and attempt a solid state project. So I looked through my big library of radio books, magazines, and construction articles, and I came across this book that I actually bought over 10 years ago. This is Radio Receiver Projects You Can Build by Homer L. Davidson, published by Tab Books in 1993. There are 33 radio projects in this book with diagrams, instructions, coil winding instructions, the whole thing. So I decided to look through here and see what kind of solid-state radio I could build. This book covers everything from simple crystal radios all the way up to a shortwave super heterodyne receiver and everything in between. So looking through the book, I stopped at page 80, which seemed like something that would be doable for me. What that was a solid-state broadcast band receiver, battery operated, and I thought I would give it a try. This receiver relied on two integrated circuits, a TA7642, which is an RF chip, and an LM386, which is an audio chip. And if you put the two together, they do indeed make a dynamic duo. Here's what my radio looks like. And here we have a close-up of my front panel. Over here is the tuning control, which is vernier driven. I have a volume control, an on-off switch, and of course a pilot light. And this is an RCA jack, which will let me use my radio as a standalone amplifier. In the back here you can see this white box, which holds my 3-inch 8-ohm PM speaker. In this shot I have removed the speaker so you can better see the layout. I've used a combination of wooden breadboard along with two commercially available breadboards to hold the smaller parts. This breadboard holds my LM386 audio chip along with a couple capacitors to make it work. This breadboard holds my TA7642 RF chip along with a couple capacitors to make it work. Over here you see my tuning circuit. It's a ferrite rod antenna, which is also my tuning coil, and a variable capacitor. Now this capacitor is either 100 or 150 picofarads, I don't remember which. Over here I have an on-off switch to disconnect the RF circuit, which allows me to use this unit as a straight standalone amplifier. The unit operates on two batteries, a D cell, 1.5 volts, and that powers the RF chip. And I have a regular 9-volt battery which powers the LM386 audio chip. And now let me show you my two integrated chips compared to a standard pencil. On the left side you see the LM386 audio chip. It has 8 pins and it is driven by a standard 9-volt transistor battery. It provides plenty of volume to my 3-inch permanent magnet speaker. On the right side you see the amazing TA7642 RF chip. This chip provides several stages of RF amplification. It provides detection, and it even includes an automatic gain control. This chip only has 3 leads to worry about, so you can hardly go wrong, and it is driven by a single D cell providing 1.5 volts. I think this chip is pretty amazing. Well, as you can see, I've reinstalled the speaker to the back of my radio. And now I'd like to tell you that this is not a super heterodyne circuit. It's not a regenerative circuit. It is a simple TRF circuit. TRF meaning tuned radio frequency. Back in the very old days of radio, a lot of TRF sets were manufactured. But the trouble was they didn't have much sensitivity or much selectivity, and they usually had to be connected to an external antenna and an external ground. And that's the amazing thing about this solid-state TRF receiver. No external ground, no external antenna. It's self-contained and completely portable. You know, I'm very impressed with this radio, and that is probably because I know how many parts, how many circuits, how much space would be required to duplicate this level of performance with a vacuum tube circuit. Believe me, there's no comparison. Okay, on with the demonstration.
Your workday, your focus is on your job. Our focus is on the news. And later this morning at 10, Chris Stevens and Linda Nunez will have all the information you need to get through the day. The latest news, traffic, and weather. For news that matters to you, depend on us. Southern California's only.
Pueden ayudar a mejorar. Por ejemplo, se puede utilizar grasa dentro del músculo. Se puede poner grasa intramuscular para aumentar el músculo.
Does that mean all Muslims? That was not asked. It was taken. The exceptions were taken by all three, I believe, all three of the other debaters, with the argument being that
credit card application or do any of these things. And so, yeah, I'm with you 100%. We need more education.
Yeah, I mean, kids know the money comes out of that machine.
Something to discuss and continue to be in the news cycle. Speaking of Osweiler, Charles Robinson of Yahoo talked to Osweiler, I guess, is the way I interpreted the way he wrote his story, and some interesting revelations about why Osweiler...
دکتری به هیچ فسیلیتی هیچ جا هیچ پولی دیگه نمیدید، نه کوپی دارید، نه دیداکتیبل دارید، نه آوت آف پاکت دارید. اینجا من اینو میگیرم، اونجا نمیگیرم. اصلا همچین مشکلی.
Showing people how to work out. The one that is the funniest thing is you on an exercise bike where you have to duct tape your feet to the pedals. I died watching that.
Awesome.
We're continuing LA's best sports talk online. Listen anywhere you are at am570lasports.com.
Well, we've just heard 10 AM stations, broadcast band stations, with very good sensitivity and pretty good selectivity. And keep in mind, this is a TRF radio. And I think for a TRF radio, the performance is very, very good. If anybody is interested in taking a quick look at the diagram from my book, here's what it looks like. Well, that's about it for now, folks. Solid State did come to John's workshop. However, I think I'm going to return immediately to tube circuits. Solid State lacks a lot of what I would call character. Anyway, I thank you for watching. My partner, Mr. Dillon, thanks you for watching. And we'll see you again next time.